Just as a reminder for everybody that we are recording this session, so those who couldn't make it will be able to see it. We're going to edit it so that it actually starts just about now so that folks don't have to hear the waiting and stuff. But we're going to go ahead and get started. Does everybody see the slide titled Groups? Okay, good. Perfect. So we will go ahead and get started. So groups is something that we hear a lot of people talking about, that everybody understands that they want to do group work, the importance of group work, but how do we actually do it and do it well in Blackboard? Blackboard, as you know, we've got new system upgrades, and basic functionality of groups haven't changed a lot, but there are some added opportunities to engage and interact with students, and so we wanted to talk about those, but we wanted to just take the opportunity in everybody learning about the new system and having all these things in their mind to just talk about groups in general, so that maybe it's something that you would want to use in your course. So we will go ahead and get started.
So if you've ever taught and you've used groups before, perhaps you kind of got this reaction from your students. Students notoriously detest working in groups. Very frequently, you get groans from students when you tell them that they're going to work in groups. I had a friend of mine. We were over at their house one evening, and the wife and I are both educators, and we were talking about active learning and using group work and collaborative work and the importance of that. And he said when he was in college, her husband said, that if he walked into a class and the very first day they said there were going to be group work or collaborative work, he would literally right then and there get up and walk out and drop the class. That he didn't want to do that. What he wanted to do was to sit and listen to a lecture and take an exam and be done. And honestly, a lot of students, you're probably going to get a little pushback if you try to do group work from students. That's just the way it is. And a lot of that has to do with just human nature and just the way human beings, they're not prone to a lot of times want to reach out and collaborate with other human beings. It's just the way it is. But the reality is that that groups are important, and we're going to talk a little bit about why that is. But before we do that, I also want to acknowledge that a lot of times faculty have a hesitation about doing group work. And some of that's because of the pushback they get from students, and some of that's because, honestly, it is more effort. It can often take, more time to set up and prepare to really do it right than it would be just to skip the whole thing and just have individual assignments. So, just to avoid the hassle and the blowback from students, a lot of faculty probably avoid group work. And I guess one of the takeaways we'd like for you to get today is to maybe reconsider that position. To consider that, yes, it's going to be more work, but in the end, the learning that's going to occur is probably greater than if used appropriately than if you use group work. So let's talk a little bit about why. The research is pretty clear that active learning in general and group or collaborative learning in particular is an effective means of instruction. Students, people in general, tend to learn better when they're actively involved in the process, when there's something to apply the knowledge to and not just given content and expected to retain it and then spit it back on an exam. So, one of the best ways to incorporate group work is to involve problem solving. When you're working in a group and you're working collaboratively on a problem, there are better and more solutions when you have more ideas. Two heads are better than one kind of a thing. So that's one way to increase the active learning using groups. Also, it's good to have someone else just to bounce ideas off of. A lot of times, learning occurs as you sort of try an idea and fail. The role of failure in learning can't really be overstated, and we've kind of created a culture where failure is not an accepted part of the learning process. And I think maybe we need to rethink that a little bit, because trial and error is actually a very effective means of learning. What we want to do is create a safe place for that trial and error. We don't want people, using trial and error in the emergency room as they're learning medicine. We don't want that. So we want a safe place where students can experiment and try ideas out, and working in groups is one way they can do that, and kind of bounce ideas off, get feedback from their peers, gain that knowledge, and maybe straighten out that learning curve a little bit so it's not quite so steep. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So I was just going to add that I don't know how many of you are familiar with Bloom's affective domain. We actually just did a presentation on it called The Forgotten Blooms. Bloom's, as you know, really talks about the cognitive levels of knowledge and I just drew a blank. I know all these, but it's very cognitive level. It's about the skills. It measures how much content you've retained and at what level you've retained it. If you're doing compare and contrast, if you're analyzing, if you're these kinds of things. Mm-hmm. The affective domain is a lot softer skills, or that emotion. It taps into emotion. It taps into reflection and the motivation and the things that create true feelings when you're working with the content. And so together they act as a really powerful way to design activities when you're trying to engage your students. And I think about the group work really lending itself to the affective domain, because I'm sure every one of us has probably had a really bad group or teamwork experience, and we remember it. And we remember it because it could have been really bad, it could have been really good, but there was an emotion in it. There was something that you either got really, really upset about or really, really excited about, and it tapped into those affective domains that helped secure that solid cognitive content and mashed them together. And so we dive into group work, and we have an outcome that they want to come out of, which is usually tied directly to the content and the learning of the course. But I think we're also hoping in the process that they learn the affective parts, where they are negotiating with one another, and they're sharing with one another, and they're finding ways to handle conflict. Because we all know, even in the workplace environment, when we have to do committee work and we have to do teamwork and we have to come to an end result, that we've got to navigate that and get through that process. And it's a reality. This is how we work. Very few people work in isolation, and so having them go through these experiences in class and in a safe environment, even though they wouldn't consider their grade a safe place to mess with that, but we all know this isn't the end of the world, and this is part of learning that and how important that is for that process.
The reality is, if you stop to think about how you work, you don't work in isolation. You work with others. You collaborate with others. You research with others. And so even if students push back, even if it seems like a lot of work, group learning is teaching students how to work in the world. And so that, more than anything, I think is the biggest reason why it's a good idea. Now, you can use groups. The good news is that Blackboard actually makes it easy to use groups, whether you're learning online or whether you're sort of doing a blended classroom or fully face-to-face. The tools in Blackboard, now more so than ever, make it easy to divide up and provide a workspace for your students to actually work in groups. So that's the next thing we're going to kind of talk about.
Right, and setting up those groups is really important. And when I mean by setting up, I don't mean the actual membership of those groups. I mean setting up the group assignment. So these are what I wanted to go through before we touched Blackboard and the tool, was strategies that I have both experienced, used myself, and then also heard other faculty have used, that together makes for a really great experience both for students and faculty. But it takes time to get these things set up. And the first one is a team meeting. Excuse me. A team meeting is really important because if once you assign that group, and I've heard it, a really good group number is 4 to 5. You don't want to be too much heavier than 5, and you don't necessarily want to be only 2. But 4 to 5 is a really good number. And what the team meeting is it requires that all of them get together. And so what you can say is, and I've seen folks do this before, is they set out an agenda. And so you create an agenda template for them, and you require them to meet. And on the agenda is maybe everybody agrees on, you can do something silly like a team name. But then also to write out 3 objectives, read together or come to the meeting knowing what the project is going to be, and write as a group 2 to 3 objectives that you want to get to at the end of your project. Assign roles, and they're filling this out on this agenda. So they've gotten a team name, they've come up with their own objectives, they've assigned roles. So this is an important one, is that everybody has a particular role that they're going to play, and they're all agreeing to in this team meeting. And then also communication. So determining when we're going to meet, how we're going to meet, and what we're going to do at those meeting times. So it's like you assume that they're going to have a planning meeting, but by doing this, you're requiring them to have a planning meeting. And you might just give them 5 points for it, really small, but make it required. Because you'll see at the end, when we get to the evaluation, how important pulling that agenda back out is, because they've already set the stage. So another part of the planning is support tools. And support tools is a big part of what we're going to do today, and that is setting up the group in Blackboard and providing, like Carolyn said, a meeting space or a collaboration space for them. So you're going to create a space for them to share and work and add materials and that kind of things. But some other tools for communication you might want to do is you might have a folder on Blackboard that gives them links to Lync that we're using here, or links to Skype, or just how-tos, so that if they're all working at a distance and they can't come together in a meeting space face-to-face, that you've given them options for tools so that they don't have an excuse not to meet. So those are support tools, and there might be others out there, but again, this is the planning so that they're not doing a lot of chasing and they're spending more time with the content and the actual project and less about how do we get there. And then rubrics. Rubrics are really good, and I think in a group they're really, really important because there's a lot of gray area sometimes with groups and interpretation of how their team project is going to be graded, and I think it pulls a lot of the anxiety away from the overachiever and the underachiever in the group, because it kind of makes a middle ground. If you've stated a rubric that says these are the things that we're looking for and this is how you're going to be graded. And of course there needs to be room for flexibility and creativity, because you don't want to have 6 groups and all of them turn in the same homework. I mean, that's just boring to grade, frankly. But leave room for that, but make it really clear how they're going to be graded, and encourage them to review that rubric in the planning team meeting, so that when they're assigning roles, they could potentially assign roles according to the rubric. That could be one way they choose to develop their plan. Outcome value. This is really important. It's important to do group work for all the reasons we talked about, but it's really important that the experience they're having is an application of some type of reality. So I can only assume in Carol's line of work in social work that there are so many opportunities for collaboration and group work that can replicate and experience they're probably going to have in the field. And I'm sure the same goes in CSD, and you can create these opportunities to where in a safe classroom environment, even though there's a grade assigned, you can stumble and fall, but you'll have your team members to pick you back up, and maybe you'll have that memory and that feeling. So again, the affective domain, that feeling, so when you get into the reality of the workplace, you'll remember that and have that knowledge. And then lastly is peer evaluation. Peer evaluation scares people a lot, but I think it's important that the peers evaluate each other. Now, there's choices here. You can choose to make the peer evaluation a part of the grade, or you can choose to say every team member is going to get the same grade no matter what, or every team member gets the same grade for the project, but then there's a participation grade that sits outside. There's different ways to approach grading a group, but I do think it's very valuable, especially when you've set up the team agenda and you've got their objectives, their meeting times, along with the assigned roles, to then compare that to a peer evaluation. It kind of takes you out of the middle from having to be the judge, jury, and executioner, and so to speak, because they've set it up, they've set the ground rules, and then they gave each other their evaluations. And you are much more the facilitator and coach in this environment than the professor. And so
the peer evaluation also takes away one, or at least partially takes away one of the primary objections that students have to groups, which is, well, I'm going to wind up doing all the work. Every time I've been in a group, we've got somebody, at least somebody who doesn't do their share, and I have to pick up the slack. And then, I get a good grade and they do too when I did all the work. A peer evaluation can mitigate that, particularly if it's part of the overall grade for the project. That, like I said, that kind of eliminates at least one objection that students often have to working in groups, is that
it doesn't mean it doesn't still happen.
Right, and the reality is it is going to. What I've always told my students is, yeah, it is going to happen, because in the real world, every group I've ever worked in, there was at least one person that didn't pull their weight. That's how humans are.
Right. And they have other roles and responsibilities, and maybe that week they're the ones pulling all the weight. You never know.
You never know. But that's so get used to it, accept it. Let's learn how to deal with it and move on.
Right.
Yeah.
So those are just some strategies that I've heard work really, really well. And the last thing I want to mention about this slide, and then I'm going to ask if anybody has any questions, is you'll see in the bottom left that we have a QR code. And if you're participating in any of the other trainings we're doing this week, you'll probably see those. We try to make content readily available. So this QR code goes directly to an article that I found really, really helpful on group strategies. It even, if you scroll down the article, it even had responses to typical negative emails or comments you may get from a student. Like, I always do all the work. Well, what's a good thing to say to a student that says that? Or, whatever their excuse is. I'm drawing a blank, but it's a really great. Yeah.
Students just don't like having their grade not completely in their
control.
And I don't blame them. I don't like it either. No. So, yeah.
But what I liked about this article is it presented those scenarios of the negative comments from students and gave some really great supportive information to help you craft your response back to keep it going until it becomes your own. But if it's new to you, it just kind of helps with that strategy.
And just a word about the QR codes. We've made PDFs of all of these PowerPoints that we're doing this week. And for those of you who came a little later, when we finish up, or maybe we can put it right now, this Dawn is typing the web address for our wiki, and on the home page of the wiki is a link to all of the information, all of the documents from this week's trainings. And for the PowerPoints, we made them PDFs, so these are clickable hyperlinks. And this particular hyperlink then would go to that article that Dawn was talking about.
So does anybody have any questions thus far before we dive into actual Blackboard and setting up the group? Feel free to either go in the chat window or turn on your mic to chat with us. Anything so far? Any other wonderful strategies that maybe you have done that has worked?
When you create your peer evaluation form, do you have any samples of some where are they evaluating their feelings about the cohesiveness or non-cohesiveness of the group, or are they evaluating members?
Both.
Okay.
Both. I typically have both, but I would say that's because for my particular assignment, I'm interested in both. So I would kind of say, what do you want to know most? Do you, because I have a bit of a reflective piece, which kind of gets at the cohesiveness part. How did you think it went? Did you get any experience out of this that, you know, maybe was an aha moment or not so much? I forget how I crafted it, but then I had, you know, a question specifically leading them back to their own agenda that said, Carol, that would be great. Carol says she has one that she can share. That would be awesome. But have them repeat back the assigned roles from the team agenda and then ask if everybody did that part and encourage them, and this probably goes without saying, but I'll say it anyways, is that at the team meeting in the very beginning that they have the agenda to which they're filling out, they can see the rubric and they can see the peer evaluation, and encourage them to review all of it ahead of time. That the peer evaluation doesn't pop out at them at the very end like, I didn't know I was going to be evaluated in this way, that they know it all ahead of time. So if they see on the peer evaluation, this is the mitigation piece, if they see on the peer evaluation that, oh, you're asking me to go back and make sure everybody actually did their roles, oh, well, I should do my role. And I've had students in my class say, you know what, we did assign these roles, but circumstances changed, so we switched halfway through. That's perfectly okay. That's part of that process.
Right.
But having them acknowledge what the roles were and how they ended up was an important piece of that. And I actually tried to stay away from the evaluation and judgment are pretty similar, but I tried to make it less personal because and make it more about sticking to the original agenda and did you complete the work that you set out to complete. Now, I figured if there was a real problem, I was going to hear from that team or that student personally somewhere else, and I kept it kind of out of the evaluation formal process as much as possible. But that was my choice, and I would say it's up to you completely.
I actually, in the times that I've used group, I actually did the opposite. So I would ask them to actually evaluate based on 3 or 4 criteria, including, you know, were project deliverables from this person, you know, completed on time? Was the quality of the work, you know, adequate? You know, did they attend meetings? So I had them evaluate each of the other group members, and then I would take those and average them, so that you didn't get one crank, you know, or somebody who had a bone to pick with somebody else in the group and have that skew. And then I averaged that out, and I made that I made that evaluation a certain percentage of the grade of that person's participation grade for the project. So they would get the overall project grade, the quality of the project deliverable, and then they got another grade for their participation in the group. And, you know, I let them have at it, but that's me.
Well, you know, it just goes to show what's most
ways.
Important to you. What are you trying to get out of the evaluation? What piece of it don't you know? Because you've been acting as a coach and a facilitator, so you're kind of out here hanging out, checking in, making sure everybody's okay. But maybe there's a piece that you don't really know what happened, and it's important that you know that so that you can give them a valid grade. That's the kind of question I would put on an evaluation.
So, yeah, Carol, if you wouldn't mind sharing what you've got, if you want to email it to one of us, and we'll add it, if you don't mind, to the wiki, and we'll give you full credit. And
of course. And I think I might have one too.
Yeah, I'll
sure
dig around if I'm sure we
yeah.
can find some and include those. That's be a good resource for our wiki. So
Great.
Thank you, Carol. That's very gracious of you.
Okay, so if no more questions, let's go ahead and dive into Blackboard. And I would say feel free to pull up Blackboard if you want to at the same time and kind of push the buttons as we're talking about it, or if you just want to watch that.
Yeah, just in case, because some people aren't aware, when you log into Blackboard, one of your courses, and it should be at the bottom of your list of courses, there will be a course with Sandbox in the name, and that's for you to play in. That's the name, Sandbox. So, it's not a course that's ever going to have students in it. You can't break anything. So feel free to go in there if you don't want to use one of your actual, student-populated courses to play around and practice any of the things that we show you how to do. So what we're going to do is flip over to, oh yes, yeah. So the QR code on this page is to the Blackboard on-demand video for managing and organizing groups. So if you use a QR code reader or in the PDF afterwards, it's on our wiki, if you just click the hyperlink, this will go to Blackboard's training video on groups. Their training videos are pretty good. They're harder to find than they used to be, but this goes directly to that video.
And this video does not tell you how to set up a group. We're going to show you how to do that today. This is kind of assuming you've already got the groups up, but it gives you some really neat tricks, things that I didn't even know that I got excited about on how to manage it and organize it, once the groups are going, a couple things. So we weren't sure if we'd have time to really get into that, so we wanted to put the link here so you had that.
And creating a group is simple enough that we didn't think you needed a video. We're going to walk through that. So, so I'm going to change over to
desktop, I think. Oh no, yeah,
let's just do this. Okay, so does everyone now see a Blackboard site? This is a site that we used for training back in March. If anyone can't see, everyone should be seeing on their screen the Blackboard site now. So, okay. So one thing you might notice here is that there's no groups button. So the first thing I thought that we might want to do is, and this is just an added bonus, free. There's no charge for this. How to add a button to your menu. You can get to groups through tools, which on our template is other tools, or you can get to it through the control panel, course tools.
Or users groups. It's actually
right. You're right. So there's lots of ways to get to groups. So you could get. Oh, I was wrong. You can't get to groups from course tools. What was I thinking? So you can get to it through users and groups. You can click on groups here. You and the student users can get through it through other tools. The groups are down here, bottom. Where are they? There they are, right here. But I'm going to show you how to add a groups button to your menu. Okay. So up here at the top of the menu bar, okay, you can add a button to your main menu. And if you already knew how to do this, then you can just pat yourself on the back and say, I already knew how to do this. But if you didn't, this might be something useful for you. And since we're adding, you can add any number of things, but we're going to add a tool because that's what groups are. And when you get this menu, then you pull down the types, and we want to find groups. There they are. And then you can call it whatever you want. Let's be really crazy and call it groups. And then for some unknown reason, it's by default not available to users. So if you want your students to see it, you have to check this box. And then click Submit. And then it will always show up at the bottom of the menu. So here's my groups page. So I can drag it wherever I want. Generally, when we create a groups button, we usually put it here. So now I have a groups button. So that was free.
Free of charge.
Free of charge.
But wait,
Just
there's more.
for you today and today only, free of charge.
Right.
So now I can click on that, and it will take me to this page. So this particular groups page already has some groups in it that we, I think, used for our training session. But I'm going to show you how to set up a new group. So all you have to do is click Create, and you can create just a single group, or you can select a group set. Now this is useful if, let's say, you want to divide your class up into groups of 5, and you don't care who's in a group. You just want to randomly set up groups. Then you can use this random enroll. And what that allows you to do is to tell Blackboard how many groups you want and how many students in each group, and it'll do it for you, just randomly. And if there's any left over, it'll ask you to distribute throughout the groups, or do you want all the extras to go in a particular group or whatever, and it will do that for you. So that's kind of a cool thing. But for now, we're just going to create one single group. And you can set them up so that students can self-enroll, or more often you're probably going to want to manually enroll groups. So go ahead and do that. And that brings us to this page. So we're going to give our group a name. We'll call them the Beatles. And we can provide a description here. Now, one thing that is kind of be our theme for the week, or one of the themes we touch on through the week, is the wonderfulness of the text box editor. Mm-hmm. The text box editor, anytime you see the text box editor, you have lots of options for putting content into that text box, including a video. So if you wanted to, where's my mashup button? That's interesting. I don't have a mashup, so I can't add Kaltura, but I could add a YouTube video. I could record my webcam, so I could do a little video introduction to this group if I wanted to. Or I can, type, or, all the usual things that you can do with the text box editor. So that's kind of cool. But you can give it a description, you can give it an instruction, whatever you want to do here. Okay. And it's by default, it's visible to students. If you're not quite, if you want to set them up ahead of time but not maybe make them available yet, then you can click no. And then you can give your groups all of these tools. This is what's so great about this feature in Blackboard, is the number of collaborative tools that you can give to the students to use. So you can give them their own blog, you can give them collaboration, which is simply the chat tool, the kind of clunky, not so great chat tool, but you can give it to them. You can give them their own discussion board and allow them to either create forums, or you can create the forums for them, an email, a file exchange, which is really nice. I don't know how many of you have been using Blackboard long enough, but you remember the old Dropbox? This is basically the Dropbox, but just for groups. All it is a pass back and forth file exchange. So it's nice for students that are working on a project and want to they're working on their piece, maybe they can put it in the file exchange and then everybody can see it. Journals, they're keeping a record of maybe minutes from their team meetings, those could go there, or it can be a graded assignment. Tasks, if they're going to create a list of to-do, tasks for their to-do items for their group, and then a wiki if they're working on something, again, collaboratively, and they want to have a version history of that work, then a wiki is a good choice, and it can be graded as well. And the commercial content tools, those are just building blocks that can be included, and like a textbook manufacturer might provide some content from the textbook that might be something you want them to work on. But you don't have to include that. We'll just uncheck that because we'll assume we don't have those. Personalization just means they can change the colors, kind of make it their own if they want to. This is revolutionary, this number 4, group options. What this allows you to do is to create a smart view in the grade center for this group. So let's say you have 5 groups and you only want to grade each one at a time. What this will do is in your control panel, it'll create, if you make it a favorite, it'll show up in your control panel. You can click on that and all you're going to see in the grade center are just the members of that group. So you can grade them all at once, isolated from everyone else in the grade center. So if you have a really large class and it's broken into groups, this can be a huge time saver in terms of working through your grading. And then membership, you can add users from here. So this course has a lot of test accounts in it. So I can search for members, or I can just choose them all, or however I want to do it. So I'm going to just click like 4 names here and click submit. And now those 4 people are in this group. There they are. And then I'm going to click submit. And now I've got my Beatles group. I have 4 enrolled members. This tells me that it's not self-enroll and that it is available to students. Okay? Did I create a smart view? I'm not sure I did.
But you can.
But I can do it from here.
Yes.
So here's another nice feature. We've had groups for a long, long time. They got a lot easier to use with this upgrade in this version of Blackboard. So I can, from this menu, I can create a smart view for the group. So I don't have to go into the group and check that box. If I forgot, like I think I did, I can do it from here. So now, oh look, somebody's making.
Yay! Go right ahead. And then the other thing you can do from here, which is really fun and I got excited about, is if you've created all 5 or 6 of your groups and you just want to make sure everybody has the same stuff, go under View Options.
Well, first you want to check all your groups.
You want to check all of your groups.
Right. So if I click check by this name, it chooses all of my groups. Then I can go to View Options, Show Tool Availability, and now I can see at a glance what tools they have. And I can change it.
Right. So if I realized I gave Beatles all of these tools, but I forgot to give discussion group 1 the blogs, then from here I can turn it on. I don't have to go in to each group settings and from there edit the group and turn it on. So this to me I was really excited about this because usually the courses that we're working on, well, in the online courses, they use groups for a different purpose than actual group work. They use it to organize their sections. So for us, sometimes in a class, we've got 10 to 15 groups. And so this dashboard is a great way for us to quickly make sure everybody has what they need and that we have a smart view for every single one of those groups.
The other useful purpose for this is say you did create a random group and you had them all created, you had Blackboard create them all at once, then you could come in and quickly give all of those groups the tools that you wanted without going in one at a time and setting the tools that you wanted.
Right.
So in about 3 clicks you could have all the groups you want, randomly assigned, and then choose the tools that you want them to have. Right. So these are new features. Groups have been around for quite a while, but these are new features in this version that we thought were really worth calling out.
And so what Carolyn was referring to before is now that you have a group and you've marked it as a smart view, but that smart view has to be a favorite smart view. You'll see here under Full Grade Center that this group discussion board group 1 is a favorite, and you can click on that, and when you get the grade center for this group, it's only the enrollees of that group. So you can see here that there is a total of, I can do a quick count, 10 people in this group, and you're only seeing the grade center grades for that group. So that's a really nice organizational feature too.
In case you forget to make it a favorite, you can always do that from the Grade Center by going up to Manage, Smart Views, and this gives you a list of all your Smart Views. And to make it a favorite, you would just click this star over here. So if I want to make the Beatles a favorite, I'll make that a star, because they are stars, get it? And click OK. And now they're going to show up over here in my control panel. So.
And there was only 4 members of that group, so if you clicked on the Beatles, you would get the Grade Center for only those 4 members of that group.
Right,
See?
so here they are.
So that's really nice way to just quick at a glance look at just a group itself. Are there any questions?
No, you're right. Can you see comments? If they can comment?
Go back again.
Okay, looks like.
All right. Looks like we were crystal clear.
We were.
Excellent.
Wow, that's a shock. Okay, but wait, there's more.
Yeah.
So another new thing that just set our hearts a-twitter this upgrade is that if you want to sit, and this is again particularly helpful if you have large enrollment groups or large enrollment classes, you can actually set up your groups in a spreadsheet and import them in, and Blackboard will create groups. So that's a huge game changer for some of our larger online programs. So the way you would do that is you would use your import. You'd have to set up the Excel spreadsheet, and we have
a tutorial in the wiki.
Right, we have a tutorial in the wiki on how to do that. I'm trying to think what it's under. We'll find it in a moment.
Hopefully groups.
Yeah, hopefully groups.
Hopefully.
Sometimes our student worker uses odd choices for.
Yes.
But all you would do is import groups and then browse to where your Excel spreadsheet is, actually you could set up the groups, or just you could have members imported into groups, and you would go find it. You can check your tool availability for those groups, click submit, and they are imported. So let me just real quickly, let me go to our, thank you.
This is what the wiki looks like when you go there. This is our brain dump for all of you.
So this particular link right here, there should be a link. I'm not sure why I'm not getting a link.
Is it on the bottom? Click on the image. Click on it.
Well, nothing's happening.
No.
I'll double check that when we're done here. But let's see. I don't think it was under groups. I think it's under here. Yeah, here it is. How to populate student groups, how to set availability, how to grade group assignments. And down here at the bottom, importing an Excel spreadsheet into Blackboard groups. This is a video that walks you through it. And then you have a sample group spreadsheet and a sample group member spreadsheet. So those are set up the way they need to be for Blackboard. So you could just swap in, copy in your information, and then save it and import it in Blackboard, and you'd be good to go. So that's information about that. So that was our other bonus for today. Aren't you guys lucky? You got all this bonus information.
Could you take your roster and import it into an Excel spreadsheet automatically, or do you have to put the names in one at a time in an Excel spreadsheet?
You probably have to copy and paste it into that particular template spreadsheet. That's the only thing, is that template of what Blackboard will accept as an import file is pretty specific. So that's why we made sure we put a template out there so that you would just need to put it in. I think it's username driven, And so if you can
yeah.
pull off your roster, the username, you would need to do at least a copy paste into the field in the Excel file before you import it. Yeah, it's not automatic, and they got a little particular with the fields and the columns matching the rows that they wanted so that it would talk correctly to Blackboard. But
if you got a Excel version of your roster to get you started, then you could, copy and paste it, into the correct cells in the Blackboard spreadsheet, and then you'd be good to go.
Right.
Thanks.
Okay. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Great
That's
question.
not right.
Let's hit resume slide.
Okay, here we go. So then I know we're wrapping up here. We've got about 3 more minutes, and we've kind of talked about some of these, but these are some great examples of different kinds of group work. Team Teach is one of my favorites. The best way to know if your students understand something is to ask them to teach it back to you or back to a group. So asking them to do a presentation or take a subject and have to learn enough about it that they're responsible for teaching others, that's good pressure. And a good way to really see if they know it. Presentations, case study reviews, adaptive release content, that's probably something that needs a description. This is actually something new that one of our own faculty members, Emily Van Walligen, used this term. She had a really unique situation that we were excited to brainstorm with her and figure out how to do it. And she has a nutrition course that she's teaching, but there is a group of students that need some med term, because med term is not necessarily a prereq, but they need some of it in order to be successful in this class. And so she decided to kind of run a mini med term course inside her nutrition course. And so obviously only the students that were designated that they needed that track would have access to those modules and that content and that work. And so what we were able to do was create a module button in Blackboard that held all of her folders for the different modules that they would need, and we put adaptive release, meaning that content had a rule on it that if you are a member of the med term group, so we set up a group just like we did here, and we made it so that when she adds membership to that group, it's the membership of that group that would allow that med term content to become available to them. So that's worked. Well, it starts in fall, so we hope that works.
We hope it works.
But that was a way that we used groups in a way to only release content to those that needed it. So you can also use groups not necessarily for a group project, but to isolate content for certain groups of individuals if you have a need to do that. So
another use case might be if you had, a group of students who didn't do well on an assessment, you could put all those students who didn't do well on the assessment into a group and release some, remediation content to them so that they could, so they don't get just left behind. So they get, additional instruction on that particular material so they can do better on the next assessment or perhaps take it again. So a couple other ways you could, you can release things to just certain groups. So that's, another use case for the groups. So we are actually 1 minute over, and we want to be respectful of your time. Does anyone have any questions? Anything we didn't cover or something didn't make sense to you?
Well, we want to thank you for being our guinea pigs for our first Lync webinar. This has gone really well. I'm excited. Getting everybody, up and running is always the most difficult part, but once you're running, it's pretty smooth sailing. So thank you. We'll probably stop recording, then put the recording up in the wiki, and then we hope you have time to join us for other sessions this week, or at least be able to access the information. And like always, we're available, and please feel free to contact us if you have any questions, or you said something and I forgot what it was, and we'll be happy to remind you or come sit with you and work through it. So thank you for joining us.
I'm putting the link to our wiki here again.
Question. I lost some of it.
That's what I was.
Okay,
yeah.
okay, good. So, good.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Stop the recording first.